I think that is going to be a flagrant too.
And we have grown-ass men and women out here doing whatever they can to try to make sure that does not happen.
Jason Whitlock had already issued the warning months earlier, and he did so publicly. He argued that DiJonai Carrington would eventually seriously injure someone in the WNBA. His comments came after another troubling incident earlier in the season, when Carrington's fingernail caught Jessica Shepard across the face during a game against Minnesota. Whitlock believed the league had become far too tolerant of Carrington's aggressive style and warned that unless officials took action, it was only a matter of time before someone suffered a serious injury. But nothing meaningful changed. Then came August, Bath. Arsène Lingard-Loop. Sophie Cunningham broke away on what appeared to be a routine transition layup when Carrington chased her down from behind, swung her left arm, and delivered heavy contact to Cunningham's face and neck. The collision sent Cunningham crashing violently to the floor, leaving her with no opportunity to brace herself. Suddenly, the warning Whitlock had made months earlier seemed much harder.
I don't think that DiJonai intentionally came out to get her across the neck like she did, but it did happen, and I thought it was the right call. But, you know, one of the things about Nay is that she's going to play her butt off, man. She's going to compete. Nobody's going to go walking in for a layup. And so I don't oppose the hard foul, but I also don't think that she intentionally went for the neck.
By this point, however, the discussion had moved well beyond a single hard foul. From Caitlin Clark supporters watching from home to some of the most recognizable figures in basketball, more people were questioning how the league continues to handle these increasingly physical incidents involving the Indiana Fever. LeBron James has also publicly shown his support for Clark in the past, reaching out during her injury and offering encouragement amid the intense pressure surrounding her. So, after witnessing yet another Fever player absorb heavy contact to the face, one question is becoming impossible to ignore. How many more incidents will it take before the league finally decides that enough is enough?
So DiJonai Carrington last night almost took off Sophie Cunningham's head, gets ejected from the game, rightfully so, runs to the locker room, gets on Threads, and types out white privilege, which is crazy, especially coming from a gal that's literally wearing a bleach blonde wig. Now let's talk about black privilege for a second. Doing something completely wrong and unethical, and instead of taking responsibility, pulls out the race card and acts like a victim. Yeah, that's what we just witnessed here. The sheer lack of accountability on DiJonai's end, that was so intentional. Look at DiJonai staring at Sophie's head the whole time, and look at her reaction after. That's anger. A normal reaction would be to ask if Sophie was okay or immediately apologize. But instead she shoves her. The audacity to go and cry wolf and pull out the fake victim card and scream white privilege. All the while making Sophie Cunningham bleed as a result to her actions. People are tired of everything being blamed on race. I wouldn't be surprised if DiJonai did this in response to Sophie Cunningham coming out vocally in response to protecting women in women's sports. This was not white privilege. Under DiJonai's definition of white privilege, here's some more white privilege. Getting ejected from the game was called consequences to actions, and DiJonai should be thankful that an ejection is all that happened, because she ought to be suspended from the entire league.
With the Sky leading, Shabbat too late in the opening quarter, Cunningham broke away on a fast break with a clear lane to the basket. She finished the layup, but as she went up, Carrington's left arm made contact with the side of Cunningham's head. The hit sent Cunningham crashing heavily to the court, though she quickly got back to her feet and confronted Carrington. Officials initially ruled the play a flagrant one, but after reviewing the incident, they upgraded the call.
So a black girl clotheslines a white girl on the basketball court, was ejected from the game, and then immediately tweets out white privilege. The claim is so outlandish, I don't even know how to rebut it or what commentary to provide, because in what world does it make sense, right? Then you have Sports Illustrated with this headline after the game. Let me just remind you what Sophie Cunningham said. Actually, I'll just put it right here. This is what Sophie Cunningham said regarding protecting women's sports. That is it. Nothing more, nothing less. So I guess this is the price of standing for women and for girls. And what, we all just have to accept it as karma? No, this is assault far beyond what is normal on a basketball court. And who would be surprised if I told you that DiJonai Carrington, the woman who did that to Sophie, is the same woman who did this to Caitlin Clark. One more time, just in slow-mo. Oh yeah, that pesky white privilege. Final thoughts. The WNBA is a joke. Sophie Cunningham is an icon, and black people like DiJonai Carrington can, in fact, be racist.
Cunningham had already gotten clear for what appeared to be a routine layup when Carrington raced in from behind to make the play. As Cunningham elevated toward the basket, Carrington swung her left arm across and caught her high around the face and neck, sending Cunningham tumbling backward to the floor without much opportunity to protect herself. Cunningham quickly got back up, visibly angry, and immediately confronted Carrington. A brief shove followed before Michaela Timspin, security personnel, and others rushed in to separate the two players and prevent the confrontation from getting any.
Take a walk with me, take a walk with me, take a walk with me. There is craziness going on in the WNBA. DiJonai Carrington tweeted out white privilege from the locker room of a game that she was playing in. Get this, she fouled Sophie Cunningham hard. Sophie Cunningham, obviously white person, fouls her hard. Flagrant 2, gets ejected, goes to the locker room and tweets out white privilege in the middle of the game. Now here's the kicker to me. A flagrant 2 has to be contact that can lead to an injury that looks excessive. DiJonai, it was about as excessive as possible. If there was any evidence of there being white privilege, this was not it. What the hell do y'all think?
That was the tense atmosphere surrounding the Indiana Fever on August both. Artsenling Arsherloop, but the controversy didn't stop once Carrington left the court. About 8 minutes after the foul, while Sophie Cunningham was still playing, Carrington took to threads and posted white privilege while directly tagging the Indiana Fever. Then she followed it with another post, Ba Arsersen. That date immediately drew attention for one obvious reason. August 3rd was the next scheduled matchup between the two teams. What had already been a heated and controversial moment on the court now carried an entirely different level of tension heading into their upcoming rematch.
Chicago's guy DiJonai Carrington was ejected for a flagrant 2 foul after hitting Sophie Cunningham in the head on a layup, then posted white privilege while tagging the Indiana Fever. My, how times have changed. So this black woman in this LGBTQ-led sport intentionally fouled Sophie Cunningham, got ejected because it was called a flagrant 2, and instead of just owning and accepting responsibility of the fact that she now was receiving the punishment for said foul, she wants to call racism. She wants to call white privilege. She wants to play the race card. I'm telling you, times have changed so much. This is how ridiculous this is. Sophie Cunningham has literally been dragged. She's been called every name but a child of God. Coaches have come out and spoken against her. Fans have come out in the name of calling Sophie Cunningham anti-trans and transphobic. It's not far-fetched to say that the league itself in totality does not like Sophie Cunningham. And yet, after intentionally grabbing Sophie Cunningham around her neck and getting ejected for that, DiJonai runs to Twitter to say the reason why she was ejected was because of the white privilege Sophie Cunningham, a white, straight female, carries in a basically 80% black, almost 90% LGBTQ-led league. Oh yeah, that's where Sophie Cunningham is getting her white privilege, in this WNBA minstrel show of a freaking basketball league. That's where her white privilege is starting to show. DiJonai Carrington, you're a fucking joke. You went up thinking that you were gonna get the ball. You knew that you weren't anywhere near getting the ball, and so while you were up in the air, you figured this was your chance to grab her, Sophie Cunningham, around her neck and bring her down by her neck. This absolutely was a flagrant 2, and she honestly should be suspended for a game. This is why we can't ever get to basketball, because bitches like this do shit like that. Unnecessary.
The warning had never been hidden. It was public, direct, and impossible to overlook. Jason Whitlock had already argued that Carrington's aggressive style of play would eventually leave someone seriously injured. The league was aware of the criticism, yet little appeared to change. Then came the breakaway involving Sophie Cunningham. Carrington raced back on defense, swung her arm across Cunningham's face, and sent her crashing to the floor. Suddenly, Whitlock's earlier warning no longer seemed so extreme. This also wasn't the first time Carrington had been involved in a controversial high-contact play. Go back to the Arts-Henling Artersis playoffs when she faced Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever in the opening round. As Connecticut's primary perimeter defender, Carrington spent much of the series matched up against Clark. Early in Game E, she made contact with Clark's face, briefly forcing her out of the action. Different season, different Fever player, but once again, Carrington was involved in a play featuring contact to the face. And that is exactly why the conversation continues. The issue is no longer simply what happened on one possession. It is whether the league acted strongly and early enough to prevent a troubling pattern from